Hey, I'm Brittany Sullivan with the Red Carpet Report here in Beverly Hills for the second annual Bloom Summit. Good morning.
Good
How are
morning.
you?
I'm well, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing good. So I heard that we have something in common. Like my mother and your mother, you said like greatest inspiration, especially like when it comes to like fashion. My mom always told me, listen, you want to dress for the day you want to have, and people I think don't really understand. Like you want to feel good in your skin and just be like, I'm ready to go to the day.
Yeah.
So
No, yeah.
right,
I completely agree.
Yeah.
I completely agree.
What do you think like your like biggest piece of advice you took for your mom going into all these projects and going nonstop?
Wow, that's a really good question.
Thanks.
What is the biggest piece of advice I got from my mom going?
Just in general, what's the greatest piece of advice that your mom has given you this whole process?
Now that's an even bigger question. I'm like, I don't know. My mother always told me, you've been raised. And I think what she meant by that was, don't let other people try to tell me, like, I'm a fully fleshed out grown up.
Exactly.
I may be younger than some people, and this is of course when I was first starting out, but like, don't let anybody try to reprogram you, re-raise you into something that you are not. So basically, to thine own self be true, which is again a platitude, but it's true and it's hard. But it's good when you hear it from somebody that's close to you, because then you're like, yeah, I can take that advice. My mom is like, we did good, you're grown, go out there and don't take no mess. She used to say, put your hand on your hip and let your backbone slip.
I love that. It seems like she was like a really big influence on you, and like likewise, if you just got to go out there and strut it, and that's kind of how I was raised too. Cause it's like if you let other people go on in and control what you do, you're probably not going to do what you want to do.
No, you are not. 1,000%. You're going to do what they want you to do, and then when it all falls, listen, if something falls apart, when you can fully take ownership of it, you feel a lot better than when something falls apart and it was because you listened to somebody that you knew you shouldn't have listened to in the first place. There's something about like, wow, I made a big mistake. Okay, let me just pick this up and start rebuilding. But when you feel, the worst part is when you give your power to someone else and then you're like, oh God.
Exactly.
Because then it's a double whammy.
Because then you're like, I'm mad I made a mistake, and also that's not what I wanted to do.
Right.
So, speaking of making not mistakes, what would be like your go-to like healthy routine to kind of just like keep you centered and focused, like mentally as and physically, like
Meditation, like carving. And when I don't, I feel it. When I get off my routine, I feel it. Like, you just need those 5 minutes to just. It's like, I'm sure if I talk to a physicist or a biochemist or something, there's some science behind it, I'm sure. But you can actually feel the making space in your brain. You can actually feel yourself kind of, and all those thoughts that crowd and jumble, the ones that are completely unnecessary, go away. And you're just still with like, okay, let me focus on this issue. Because now all the noise is gone.
Exactly.
And you're able to make decisions from a much more grounded space. So yeah, meditation, 5 minutes.
And it's led you, to like like you're talking about how you were in a period piece. If you could have, well, I have 2 questions actually on that. So first question, what's been your favorite part working on that altogether? I know you loved like the period, but what's something else that's been like an amazing part of working on that production?
What an amazing part on working with that production was, I love the fact that it was a story that was featuring African American women in a time when things were really, really hard. And the movie approaches it, it's there, but that's not what the movie's about. It's about these women, and my part is relatively small, but it's very pivotal in the fact that we have a sisterhood.
Exactly.
And it's a small, quiet part of the film, but I like that it's like a quiet part of the film. Like, just so it's like that sisterhood.
The energy, yeah.
Sisterhood. You know what I mean?
Sometimes you don't need words to get the most impact.
Exactly. And that was my favorite part of working on the film. And Tessa was great. So
Yeah.
she made it very easy to feel sisterly.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to chat with me about that. Like, you're wonderful.
Oh,
and,
you're so sweet.
And also, I love your outfit. Like,
thank you. I like your outfit too.
Thank you.
You're blooming too.
Yeah.
I love it, like,
oh, and nice. Look at this even too.
Yeah,
Like,
right.
Great minds think alike.
High five.
You're
Have
awesome.
a good time
Thanks,
today.
you too.
Okay?
Enjoy
All right.
it.
Take care. Bye-bye.